Chapter 163. The Excitement of the Heavens. What? Raise the intent by 10%. Kang Chon was incomparably shocked when he heard this. Then his face was full of surprise. He had now comprehended 30% of his intention. If he took it a step further, then the power of both the heaven-breaking and the Overlord Fist would be greatly increased. It was no worse than if he had swallowed a triple transformation golden pill. Not only that, the Sherry Sun possesses the effect of calming the mind and condensing the spirit. Your kid has cultivated the star-absorbing grand technique. Every time he performs it, the demonic aura will erode by 1 point. And one day, you won't be able to escape from being demonized. And if you have this Sherry Sun, it will undoubtedly help you. Suppress the demonic thoughts that come with the star-absorbing grand technique, Emperor Dan said. How can I miss such a treasure? A blazing light flashed in Kang Chon's eyes. This relic he must obtain, even if he had to fight a great battle for it. It didn't matter. Within moments, Kang Chon and Wuxia had arrived at the square where the auction was being held, and they found a seat. At the moment, there was a sea of people here. Everywhere there were figures of cultivators. Among them, there were quite a few strong people at the 9th level of the Jidan stage. In the center of the square, a huge stone platform sat here. At this moment, on top of this huge stone platform was placed an item that was about to be auctioned, but each treasure was covered, making it impossible for the crowd to probe the information of these treasures. What a powerful aura! Is this person Wong Fei? Suddenly, Kang Chon sensed a powerful aura descending, but it was a white-clothed young man who came with a sword, and instantly appeared on top of the stone platform. His indifferent gaze swept over the crowd of young talents around him. One person facing millions of people. This person's eyes are not the slightest bit unruffled. A powerful aura is even making people faintly tremble. It is precisely Wong Fei, so strong. He's stronger than before again. Wuxia trembled and said. Only a trace of intense hatred flashed in his eyes. The 21st place on the subterranean dragon ranking is so powerful. Number 1 Dejao Wuji is only ranked 15th. Kang Chon's heart rose with a sense of gravity. The powerhouses above this potent dragon ranking were definitely not to be underestimated. Especially the powerhouses with higher rankings were even more immeasurable. Ha ha ha, Wong Fei. We meet again. A loud laugh came out steeply, and then a black-clothed youth appeared. In the crowd's line of sight, this person's entire body exuded a powerful aura. It's him. Kang Chon was filled with surprise. This person who had suddenly arrived was more than familiar to him. It was none other than Li Yuanba, one of the 4 masters of the imperial capital. The Li Yuanba who had been defeated by him in the beginning. It was just that at this moment, Li Yuanba seemed to be transformed. His strength had reached a terrifying level that even Kang Chon did not dare to underestimate. 9th level of Jidan stage. Sensing Li Yuanba's cultivation at this moment, Kang Chon's eyes revealed an unbelievable color. This Li Yuanba's cultivation had even advanced to the 9th level of the Jidan stage so quickly. This was definitely not normal. Could it be the 3rd transformation Jindan? Could this guy have obtained some more triple transformation golden pills and raised his cultivation to the 9th level of the Jidan stage? Kang Chon could not help but doubt in his heart. Just by relying on Li Yuanba's own cultivation, it was absolutely impossible that he had advanced to the 9th level of the Jidan stage in such a short period of time. It's Li Yuanba. He has also come. It seems that he has come for that Shirizi. Rumor has it that he fought a battle with Wong Fei not long ago. Both sides were neck and neck. Li Yuanba was the 22nd strongest person on the subterranean dragon ranking last year. And this year he suddenly exploded for some unknown reason. His strength has reached a terrifying level. And even Wong Fei, who is 2 ranks higher than him, was unable to defeat him. What's so strange about this? A year's time is enough for these geniuses to undergo a big change. That ranking above the submerged dragon ranking can no longer mean anything in the end. We have to look at the ranking in the demon locking tower. With the arrival of Li Yuanba, a voice of discussion came out from the crowd. Kang Chon was a little surprised. This Li Yuanba was still very famous outside. However, it was no wonder, after all. The strongest people above the subterranean dragon ranking were met with attention from all sides. With the arrival of Li Yuanba, the atmosphere of the auction was immediately raised to a higher level, and the surrounding crowd was all talking. Kang Chon heard a lot of useful news. It is said that not long ago Li Yuanba, in order to seize the Shirizi and Wang Fei fort, the result of the two sides were indistinguishable from each other. This battle also completely established Li Yuanba's strength, even if Wang Fei did not dare to underestimate. Similarly, Li Yuanba also learnt about Wang Fei's powerful strength, so this time he obediently came to participate in the auction to try to win the relics. On the stone platform, Wang Fei coldly scanned Li Yuanba and indifferently said, "If you want the relics, just wait for the auction. But I'll say it in advance, whoever dares to cause trouble in my Wang Fei's territory, don't blame me for being impolite." Obviously, for Li Yuanba, Wang Fei didn't have any good impression. The other party tried to snatch his relics with his strength not long ago. If it wasn't for the fact that Li Yuanba was too strong and he wasn't sure about it, he would have killed Li Yuanba long ago. Ha ha ha, good. I, Li Yuanba, will give you this face. I'd like to see who dares to bid for the relics in front of me. Li Yuanba laughed loudly at his words, then sat down on the side. His gloomy eyes swept the surrounding crowd. Everyone felt a strong pressure, and all of a sudden the field was silent. What a big mouth, Li Yuanba. Do you really think that if the top 20 of the subterranean dragon ranking enters the Yuanying stage space, you can reign supreme here? An icy cold voice suddenly came out, followed by a fiery red figure appearing in front of the crowd. Although this figure was unfamiliar to Kang Chon, but the voice of the other party was somewhat familiar to him. When that jade talisman in Yan Chon's storage bag burst, the voice that came out was this voice. Obviously, the other party was the same person. Yan Chon's elder brother. The 25th ranked powerhouse on the potent dragon ranking, one of the three kings under the unarmed hands. Whether it was in terms of strength or identity, he was definitely a figure that could not be underestimated. Yan, Wang Shan's face sank. He was very jealous of this Yan, especially after Kang Chon had killed Yan Chon. I wonder if he's found out the cause of Yan Chon's death, Wang Shan said worriedly. Kang Chon smiled at his words and said indifferently, "It doesn't matter. He's not my opponent." This sentence was said very plainly, but because of this, it revealed Kang Chon's confidence. Wang Shan immediately revealed a look of excitement and euphoria when he heard this. Kang Chon had never gone all out, so he wasn't sure what level Kang Chon's true strength had actually reached. Now, it seemed that Kang Chon was at least one of the top 20 powerhouses on the subterranean dragon ranking. Wang Shan could not help but feel a surge of excitement. Yan, HMPH, what? You're also here for the sherry? Li Yuanba looked at the suddenly arriving Yan. A trace of scorn flashed in his eyes. Then he coldly snorted. Wang Fei, on the other hand, stood silently on the stone platform, waiting for the auction to start. He did not care about Li Yuanba's and Yan's exchange of words. After all, no matter which one of them got the Shazi, they would have to pay a certain price. As for whose hand this Shazi would fall into in the end, that was not something he cared about. Yan coldly looked at Li Yuanba. The corner of his mouth pulled out a teasing smile as he sneered. Li Yuanba, this relic was designated by Lord Wuxia. Don't blame me for not reminding you. Wuxia. Everyone in the arena shuddered at the words. Wuxia, who was ranked second on the subterranean dragon ranking. This was definitely a genius among geniuses. Just by hearing this name, everyone felt a huge pressure. In the hearts of this crowd of millions of young geniuses, Daoyi, Wuxia, and Easy, these three were the three great mountains that pressed down on the crowd. Looking at the expressions of the crowd around him, Kang Chon couldn't help but be surprised. This Wuxia seemed to be extraordinary. Just hearing the name was enough to shock millions of young powerhouses. This was undoubtedly a very powerful opponent. A sense of wariness rose in Kang Chon's heart. His eyes flickered with light. HMPH. Wuxia can't manage the Jidan stage space yet. You want a fox and pretend to be a tiger. It's useless in front of me, Li Yuanba. Li Yuanba sniffed and laughed coldly. Only when he heard Wuxia, his eyes were still full of scorn. HMPH. Is that so? I'll convey this sentence to Lord Wuxia. Yan Yun snorted coldly and said no more, sitting down on the side and waiting for the auction to begin. An hour later, Wang Fei announced the start of the auction. Gentlemen, this relic has a mysterious origin. According to my appraisal, it is at least left by the passing away of a Buddhist cultivator above the out-of-body stage. The low price is 1 extreme spirit stone. Each increase in price shall not be less than 1 extreme spirit stone. The auction will now begin. Out of everyone's expectation, Wang Fei's first auction was the much-anticipated Sherry Sun. As soon as his words fell, he immediately drew a chorus of shocked voices. Everyone was dumbfounded, not expecting that this suppressed treasure would be the first to be auctioned. Kang Chon was also a bit surprised. He glanced at Wang Fei with slight surprise. Then he gently smiled. He understood Wang Fei's purpose. At this moment, Li Yuanba and Yan Yun both looked at Wang Fei with icy cold gazes. They were also naturally clear about Wang Fei's purpose, which was nothing more than wanting to see them kill each other. The two people coldly stared at Wang Fei and then fell into silence. As for the crowd in the arena, seeing that both of them didn't offer, they naturally didn't dare to offer either. Anyone could see that this Sherpa could only be Li Yuanba and Yan Yun's in the end, and other people wouldn't be able to take it out even if they auctioned it off. What? The two of you don't want this relic? Seeing that the field was silent, Wang Fei could not help but turn his gaze to Li Yuanba and Yan Yun and smiled lightly. Who said that? I'll offer 20 extreme spirit stones. Li Yuanba sniffed coldly. 50 pieces. Yan Yun snorted coldly, then laughed coldly. Wang Fei, beware of eating too much. Seeing that he had successfully provoked the two, Wang Fei immediately smiled faintly and said no more. On the other side, Li Yuanba bid again, 70 pieces. After he said that, he provocatively looked at Yan Yun on the opposite side, who was equally unwilling to show weakness and immediately called for a bid. 80 pieces, 90 pieces. The price in the arena climbed higher and higher, but since the beginning, it was only Yan Yun and Li Yuanba who were competing. Kang Chon wanted to participate, but unfortunately, he did not have enough spirit stones. Even with the spirit stones scavenged from Yan Chon, he was still able to gather a maximum of 100 extreme spirit stones, which was simply not comparable to the two of Li Yuanba and Yan Yun. Therefore, Kang Chon was happy to look at the two people in the field who were constantly competing. In his mind, the spirit-gathering fruit was the main thing. As for the sharp seed, when the time came, he would just snatch it over anyway. Whether it was Li Yuanba or Yan Yun, they would only be his enemies. He wouldn't be merciful. 300. When Li Yuanba gritted his teeth and called out the price of 300, Kang Chon couldn't help but sigh. Having a big family behind you is good. Casually taking out several hundred pieces of extremely high-quality spirit stones. 400. Yan Yun laughed coldly. Li Yuanba, how can your Li family compare to our Yan family? In terms of spirit stones, you are no match for me. Li Yuanba smiled grimly. Indeed, although their Li family was one of the 4 great families of the Great Tang Kingdom, they still couldn't compare to the Yan family, because the strength of that Yan family was even more powerful than the royal family of the Great Tang Kingdom. The Yan family is located in the Great Han country, is even more incomparably powerful country, not comparable to the Great Tang country. HMPH, 500. Li Yuanba coldly snorted. Even if he couldn't get the relic, he wouldn't let Yen Yun have a good time. At the very least, he would make the other party spit blood once. Wang Fei on the stone platform couldn't help but reveal a smile. This was the result he wanted. He knew that even when he reached the Heavenly Dao sect, the very high-quality spirit stones were very precious and could be exchanged for many things that would be useful for future cultivation.